Welcome to the live event to kick off the 2022 Personal Defense Network Training Tour. I'm Rob Pincus, the Executive Director of Personal Defense Network. I'm joined here by some of our tour instructors. We've got an amazing team. We're going to talk more about that, let these guys introduce themselves in a minute. It's actually a week into the tour. Tour classes actually started last week. We have 6 solid months starting on March 15th, going to September 15th, 2022. We'll have about 120 events overall at about 40 to 50 locations. Some of the classes are still to be added to our calendar. After this broadcast, you can check out pdntrainingtour.com to learn more about exactly what classes are offered and learn about our incredible instructor team. This is actually our 10th event. Now, we call it the 10th annual on the logos and the stickers. The truth is, we had to take 2020 off because of COVID, and we actually started planning this tour well in advance of the official PDN training tour in 2012. The tour idea started in 2008 because I was running around the country doing classes, and actually internationally running around the world doing classes, and we did a tour t-shirt, like a rock band tour t-shirt, and that's really what got the idea going. And then when the Personal Defense Network brand started, and we started working with some great product sponsors and putting together a team of instructors, it was only natural to turn this into an official event. And it's all about bringing the training to you, making it easy for you to access the in-person training, not quite as easy as it is to get the distance education at personaldefensenetwork.com, but almost as easy. And that's why every single one of the tour classes is a travel class. These guys travel over the country, as do the rest of our tour instructors, but they also do classes at their home ranges. Those don't count for the tour. Every single thing that you see on the tour calendar is something that they're bringing to another range or another venue so that more people can access their great information. If you're a PDN member, thank you very much. We hope that you've gotten a lot of value out of it, going all the way back to 2010 when we launched PDN, or maybe 2005 when we launched the DVD series that led to Personal Defense Network. If you're not a PDN member, at least become a registrant. Go over there and sign up for the free newsletter. You're going to get alerts about live events like this, all the new videos that come out, opportunities to take advantage of some special offers from our advertising partners and our tour sponsors. And tour sponsors is really what today is all about. We want you to become more familiar with their products and sort of why they're tour sponsors. It's not just because they checked the box at SHOT Show and said they wanted to be an advertiser. Every one of the tour sponsors is vetted by me and several other members of the instructor team because they're products that we think bring value to you, or services that will be valuable to you as someone interested in being better prepared to defend yourself or others in a worst case scenario. Right now, I want to introduce the guys that are standing here with me. I'm going to actually let them introduce themselves. We're going to start with Barrett Kendrick of Bear Coat Training. Go ahead.
Welcome, everybody. Barrett Kendrick, Bear Coat Training. My primary location's out of Louisiana, but I will be teaching from the West Coast to the East Coast on the training tour this year. I've been around the training tour since the beginning. I believe that at least as a student, kind of showing up in the classes, team teaching along the way, but have been teaching and contributing on the tour for the past several years as well. So I'm happy to be back on the tour for 2022.
Hey everybody, I'm Don Edwards, owner of Green Line Tactical. This actually here, H City Shooting Range, is my home range, but I travel, like Rob said, all over the country. And I'd say my forte is low light, no light, but pistol carbine stuff. You can catch me just about anywhere. This is my 3rd official year on the tour, but I've been around the tour, you know, well, not as long as you have, but
Been around
but a little bit prior to that. And you know, happy to be here.
Echo 5 Training. I'm located down in Southwest Florida. I'm also the co-host of PDN Training Talk with Barrett Kendrick. This is my 9th, 10th tour. Like Barrett, I've been around since the beginning. I first started out team teaching with Rob, and then became a contributor, and now an active member of the teaching team traveling around the U.S. I'll be teaching all the way up from Massachusetts all the way into the Midwest throughout the training tour, doing instructor development, pistol, and as well as rifle class. So I hope you guys learned something. We got a lot of great products. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Hey guys, I'm here. I've got a couple of VaultTec safes over here. I've been talking about access prevention and really teaching access prevention for as much longer than I've been professionally teaching firearms. That's been a big part of it. I've worked with a lot of different safes and different technologies over the years. But VaultTec is one of those brands that just sticks out. This has been a very solid safe. I've been testing this one right here. I've had it in multiple states. It's been traveling around with me, and I've been using it from day to day to kind of get an idea of how well that it works. and this one's definitely been a solid option. This is the VS20i. This one, it has the traditional combination that you have one there, right? That, you know, I've been granted, I programmed this one just for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just for the ease of being able to bring it in. But it's also fully biometric. So I'll turn it around where I can lay my finger on there. And just like that, you can see of how fast it'll recognize my finger and be able to pick up. Now, that way, I don't have to worry about remembering a combination under stress, under duress, under panic. All I need to do is be able to program my finger into it or anybody else's finger that I actually believe should have access to that. But as gun owners, regardless of whether or not if you have kids, you know, we've got a responsibility to make sure we're doing what we can to prevent access. And these are solid options for that. So besides the biometric technology and the combination, this one also has Bluetooth technology built into it. And so it's got an app that you can download to be able to set up your safe with your phone so that you know, one, how good the battery is on it. That's a really important factor that you should understand, right? Because you got to make sure that you're changing out those batteries, but that gives you an idea of when it needs to be charged. And this one does charge with a micro USB charger. But also on the phone, it will tell you if someone has tried to gain access to it in the sense that the combinations have been put in invalid or too many people have touched it, the biometric fingerprint reader, and it hasn't recognized those. So it's good to know if you have other people around, if somebody's been trying to access your safe, and this has that technology that is built into it. So I do really like this one. I think that the biometric option is one of those that that works well for most people because, like I said, it's, you know, waking up to 3 a.m. to the little dog barking, the alarm going off, worried about kids on the other side of the home. You know, it can be difficult to work through combinations if it's not something you're doing day in and day out. So having that biometric option truly simplifies that. This one doesn't have any buttons to wake it up. When you touch the glass, it wakes it up, comes from that standby mode to be able to quickly open up. So this is a VS20i. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite options that VaultTec has available. And over here, I have their LifePod. The LifePod 2.0, it does come with a biometric option or with the combination option. Now, the weight difference between the two of these is quite noticeable. So the VS20i is probably not going to be the one that you would want to purchase to travel with as a TSA checked item, simply because it's going to weight that bag down a whole lot more. With this LifePod 2.0, noticeably lighter, but this one's got some additional features that the VS20i does not have. This one actually seals in to where it's completely airtight, water resistant, and it floats, right? Floating can be a big thing. I mean, I spend a tremendous amount of time on the water. So I like the fact that it's water resistant as well as it floats in the sense that if it ends up going into the drink. Like I said, this one's noticeably lighter. You can easily get away with traveling with this one as putting your firearm in for your checked luggage as you go around. It's got some foam across the top. It has a tray that may or may not work well for what you're looking for. In the sense that if you take the tray out and the foam out, a good feature for the safe to have is you can actually take your holstered handgun and put it straight into the safe without actually having to take it out of the holster. So not that you're doing that for necessarily for TSA travel with that loaded firearm. Let's say that you're going in somewhere, you can't make it into, you can't take it into the non-permissible environment, so you have to secure your firearm. Well, you can take that handgun off where it still stays into the holster, throw it into this case, and completely lock that up, have it ready to go. Now, it does, both of these come with a cable lock mechanism to where you can lock this cable, where if you are someone that you can't take the gun into a post office or something like that, when you go off to secure it, you can make it a little bit harder for theft prevention, where this cable can be locked to something like the bottom of the seat bolts on the car, where it prevents that quick smash and grab. If somebody comes in, they can't just simply run off with the safe because it is secured via cable, and they've got to have something that's designed to be able to cut through that cable. So the LifePod 2.0, it's lightweight, it's made for travel. Our responsibility to prevent access doesn't stop at the home. It also goes with us as we travel around, especially into the summer months that are coming up and vacationing with the family.
I agree 100%. Now, you've seen a lot of quick access safes. You've done entire programs for home defense. You've done a lot of reality-based training for home defense too. And I think you'll agree with me. This is one of the stoutest. The 20 series is one of the stoutest travel safes around, and that's one of the reasons this is so much lighter, is because this really is impressive. And one of the things you're going to see, we all know, whenever there's a quick access safe, you can go to the internet and somebody's showing you how to defeat it. There was one made about these safes very early on, about how you could sort of, if you knew what you were doing, reach the program button and sort of program it while it was locked. That has been updated. I think it was updated 2 years ago. It was updated quite a while back. So if you see that floating around the internet, not a problem with these. Also, the Life Pod does have a biometric option in some of the upgrade versions as well. One of the things you might have noticed is because you have these mechanical latches, right? These aren't security, these are just latches, and that affects that water resistance and that floatability. So think about it, you're traveling, you've got a quick access safe. You don't want to set it up when you put it on that nightstand at your family house, or when you're at the vacation house or in a hotel room. So what I suggest, this is real simple, right? When you get to your destination and you want to have this for quick access stage and you put it on the nightstand, you simply open these up. It's still secure, right? Once you lock it, it's still going to be secure with this lock, and then you have to wake it up to be able to open this up, and then you can get into your access your gun very quickly. Gun, flashlight, whatever it is. The other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is this idea of staging the gun for the home defense ready. And one of the things we recommend, if you're going to check on the kids at night, you don't go running out there with the gun in your hand, right? It's obviously locked open and unloaded. I don't want to be pointing the guns at the kids as I'm moving through the house. So I'd rather have the gun holstered, but obviously I may not be sleeping in a situation where I can put on a belt holster or something like that. So one of the things that you could think about doing is staging a holster with a belt that's very easy to put on in the middle of the night, whether you're wearing clothes or not. I can take this and at least Velcro it. I might be able to go ahead and do this especially if I'm setting up in a staged environment where I'm not going to move around the house. Now at this point, whether I've opened the case first and now the gun's ready, if the bad guy comes into the room, I put this on, I can very quickly grab this either with a trigger guard or from a holster, a lanyarded trigger guard that pulls it off, or I might just have a loaded magazine in there, rack the slide and go directly to the holster. Now I can move through the house in the staged position, so I'm not worried about pointing the gun at the family as I'm moving through. We always like to talk about the training aspects of using all of this gear, and that's going to come up throughout this live. One of the other things you saw I brought out here is this drill deck for cognitive processing. You think about how you train, take this to the range, you open this up, you pick the deck up, and that's going to tell you what to do. If you haven't seen the video, I think Derek Poole was the one that did the video at Personal Defense Network on the drill deck. Take a look at that, learn how to use these. It helps you actually get reality-based training on the range, even when you're by yourself. You just pick this deck up randomly, boom, it tells you information you have to process, and then you engage one of the targets that it's made to be used with. The next thing we're going to talk about is our pistol sponsor. You've seen me pull this Canic out, this Canic here. I'm really excited about having them as a sponsor this year. They have really taken some of the community by storm with very affordable, very reliable guns. And with the Meta series that came out last year, they really took a huge leap forward in terms of their ergonomics, I think. I know you've been shooting them. I've seen some of the stuff you've posted. All of the instructors on the tour have at least one, if not a couple of these guns to bring with them. So if you attend a tour class, you're going to be able to actually use this gun, get hands-on, shoot a few reps, we'll pass the guns around. Everybody gets to use it half an hour, Your gun goes down. We've got the loaner for you. But more importantly, you get hands-on experience. One of the big deals about the tour, all of the products you see, the services, we're prepared to talk to you about them. It's not a commercial. You're still there for training, but you get some hands-on experience. Right now, we're going to go over back to the other main table, and we're going to talk about the Canic Meta SFX. And I think Don Edwards has some things to share with you.
Hey, everybody. Yes, here's the another version of it. This one happens to be Can. The SFX. Like Rob said just a minute ago, all of us are going to have these with us. If you're in one of my classes, and especially if it's an optics ready class, a red dot pistol class, and you don't have one, this may be the one that I offer to let you shoot in the class as a loaner, or if it goes down, or we'll just pass them around, right? These are a polymer striker fired pistol. It's a modern striker fired pistol. They're in 9mm. They're standard magazines, 18 rounds, and it comes with a +2 extender for your spare. Comes with 2 magazines. This one here, I have the Canic. They call it the Canic. They call it the Mechanic optic. It's a auto adjusting 3 MOA dot. Those of you guys that know me, follow me, maybe train with me, know that I'm a red dot pistol shooting guy. So That's one of the first things I did was mount this on here, right, and go out and zero it. Been shooting this a bit, shot only a few hundred rounds through it so far, but I'll be running this all, you know, off and on throughout the tour, and I'll have it with me everywhere we go to as a loaner. It, like I said, let's shoot it a little bit. It comes out of the box with some pretty decent texturing. It doesn't really need a lot. Some pistols are kind of slippery and slick. It's got some really good features for it coming right out of the box, which I'm pretty happy about. The magazine, it's a steel magazine, so it's got that going for us. The dot is auto adjust, so it's automatically going to adjust itself for the lighting conditions outside. That's the Canik SFX with the mechanic optic mounted on it. All right.
Yeah, and, you know, like Rob pointed out a second ago, it's,
fast delivery. And then it's you for you, and I'll commit at the end.
yeah. Or if you need a loaner pistol.
But you can shoot as much as you want.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, well, one of the places you get a lot of the stuff that we're talking about today, primary arms online. A source that you can go to is very intuitive to be able to work through, to be able to get firearms related stuff, whether it's accessories or guns. And Rob's going to tell us more about that.
Primary Arms Online has been a partner of the tour now for a couple of years, and they've been a growing force in the online retail community. More and more people are finding out that Primary Arms isn't just a name for optics, it's also a name for all of the things you need. Now, a lot of the products that you see us using here, obviously on the tour, are available at Primary Arms Online. And Derek Poole did an extensive video about how to utilize Primary Arms Online, as did I. I talk about all my gun building stuff. If you followed any of the information about the gun makers match or the private gun making movement, you may have seen some of the videos I've done where I talk about putting builds together and going to Primary Arms Online and shopping for any variety of different pieces, parts, accessories, things that I'm going to put onto those builds. And that goes whether you're just completing a regular AR or you're building one from scratch with a polymer 80 type kit, or you're milling one out with a ghost gunner. It doesn't really matter. Obviously, all the things you're going to want, like sling, clothing. I think that the VaultTec clothing you see a lot of us wearing. Also, all this is available at Primary Arms. Very complete store, and also very easy to use. Like any other online store, they're going to be offering sales and specials all the time. So you want to go over there and get on their mailing list. What I want to talk to you about is sort of like how to go about shopping. Now, this may seem like something you don't need to be taught, that doesn't need to be talked about, but I'm going to talk about it specifically in the case of medical equipment. Now, this is a medical kit that Primary Arms sent me. They sent us a bunch of stuff. All the instructors on the tour got kind of a goodie bag from Primary Arms Online, things that we can bring to the classes and show off to the students and say, you know, here, this sling or this flashlight, this medical kit. It's something you can get at Primary Arms Online. And obviously, these things have value to you as someone who wants to be prepared to defend themselves or others. The medical kit, staging that is incredibly important. This one comes with a back plate that can be put onto your vehicle, for example. You might want to put this on the back of a headrest, something like that. And now I can actually take this, grab it, and rip it and go from the mount just on this hook and loop fastening. So this is a really good bag. Inside of this really good bag, we're going to find what is a medical kit that I did not choose myself. You can see it's marked Primary Arms. The stuff that's in here is probably really good, but for a reason, I haven't looked inside it. So I wanted to demonstrate to you why this is important. Now, those of you who followed Personal Defense Network know that we at Personal Defense Network were advocates for instructors having medical kits and gunshot wound response trauma knowledge way before it was cool. Long before you saw every instructor and every student practically wearing a tourniquet, we were talking about this being required for all of our instructors and certainly through ICT training. So this is something we thought about a lot, we talked about a lot, and we've also covered this in some other videos, this idea that you don't want to get a vacuum packed, shrink wrapped, triple sealed medical kit in a bag that you have no idea what's inside it. Even if you know exactly what's inside it, this is not the way you want your medical kit, right? Think about it. Your hands get sweaty. Maybe you're covered with blood. There's a lot of time sensitive stuff when someone is losing blood because of a gunshot wound. You want to stop that bleeding as fast as you can. You want to control the situation as fast as you can. You don't want to have to deal with vacuum packed, slippery kind of packaging. So right away, when you get this from Primary Arms, I want you to open it up. I want you to get your hands on it and get in there. It's one of the reasons I've never sold a medical kit myself on IC Training's website. Even when we were doing a lot of retail, we might sell individual components, but I always said, go to a training class, learn how to use a certain type of tourniquet, certain type of bandage, certain type of pressure dressing, whatever, chest seals. And then once you know what you know how to use, that's how you prepare your kit. Now, I will give them credit for this. This one, while it's vacuum packed and slippery, it's also marked and pre-notched to be cut open, which is nice. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to rip this open. And you can see it's not all that simple, right? It didn't just magically rip open. Well, now imagine I'm under stress. My hands are sweaty. Maybe it's covered in blood. That could cause someone to die, just that delay. And I don't want to be too melodramatic, but that's the reason we open this up first. We want to make sure we know exactly what's in here and how to use it. So that's another important piece of this. Do we know how to use all of this stuff? Do you know what this bandage looks like inside, right? This is a 4-inch bandage, kind of a big kit to only have a 4-inch bandage. I might prefer to have a 6-inch in a kit this size, but vacuum packed, this is what's in here. So I want to make sure that I know exactly how to use this, how to seal it, right? How to secure it. And lots of different bandages have lots of different nuanced ways to make sure they're secure. So you want to understand that. Chest seal. Do you know how to use this chest seal? Do you know why it's vented? Do you know how to apply it? Do you know why there's two? Again, you want to make sure that now these are opened up. You can see once again, red and pre-cut notches. That's good. You may see a lot of videos where people have put large pieces of kind of duct tape or heavy duty tape on these, so it's even easier to grab and rip open. Those are just the instructions. Hopefully you've taken a class. You don't need those instructions. No big deal there. We've got some compressed gauze, so you want to think about that for packing the wound. Now, this one in particular does not have any kind of hemostatic agent. I'd like to have a hemostatic agent in my medical kit. You come to one of my classes, you'll see that I've added one, I'm sure, to this kit if you see it on the range. But it does have the gauze for packing a wound, this compressed gauze. Once again, red notches. Now I know what to look for there. I've got some petroleum gauze here, again, for sealing up wounds. I've got a survival blanket for shock. I've got these gloves, which I would not, if you're bleeding and you're one of my students, I'm not going to take the time to put one of these on. But if you're in a less emergent situation where you're just using something like this medical tape, maybe you got to rinse somebody's eyes out, you're just going to apply some of the Band-Aids that belong in a first aid kit, not a trauma kit, then you might got to put the gloves on. That's fine. Check this out. This is another piece of the puzzle here, right? I don't need these instructions. If I need these instructions, whoever I'm trying to put this on has a problem, right? I'm not going to be able to help. So I take that class ahead of time, and then I want to make sure that this is set up to go on the body. And I will say, give them credit again, this is staged well to go over a boot or a leg, to go over an arm. The other nice thing is that this isn't closed. This is open, right? Because I want this open so I can crank it down and then close it and then bring this Velcro over. Sometimes I see these in the packaging where this is not looped, right? Where it's shrink wrapped again, this is closed and it's not staged to be used at all. So give them credit for this. This one was staged and ready to go. Anything that you get from Primary Arms Online or any other store, I want you to make sure you know what it looks like on the inside. You've had hands-on experience with it. That's firearms, that's optics, that's your magazines, that's your quick access safe, your sling, and most importantly, maybe your medical kit. Incredibly important. Next thing we're going to talk about is another one of our firearms. Now, the firearm sponsors of the tour get a lot of attention, obviously, right? It's one of the big things we do. My thing is extreme close quarters or close quarters defensive pistol shooting. Don focuses on low light stuff, no light stuff, and some of the rifle stuff. Well, we're going to talk about rifles right now. And the first one we're going to go to is Derek Poole. He's one of the most experienced instructors on the PDN team when it comes to rifle use. Of course, he's got that Marine Corps background, and every Marine is a rifleman first, or so I'm told. So we're going to go to him and talk about Nemo rifles. Really excited about having them as a tour sponsor this year. I've had a relationship with some of the people at Nemo for a long time, and I really love their rifles. One of my favorite guns I own right now is the 300 Win Mag semi-automatic. Not really a practical gun for personal defense or home defense or tactical use, but the Battle Light 1.0 is. Let's learn more about it from Derek.
Thanks, Rob. Like Rob said, I'm a Marine. I was a Marine, am a Marine, and I really love the AR, the American Sporting Rifle platform. Every year, we end up with a tour sponsor that comes in on the rifle, and this year it was Nemo. And I was really excited about Nemo because, they've sort of taken the American Sporting Rifle to the next level. First off, it's an absolutely beautiful rifle. You can see by looking at this one here is the rifle I'm going to be traveling around on the tour with. It's their tungsten coating. It's a Cerakote, but they also do some tiger stripe stuff. I'll pull some other rifles out and show them to you, which are anodized. But when we look at the rifle a little bit closer, right, it's got a lot of features that you don't necessarily stick right out. But if I tell you about them, you're going to be like, wow, that they really thought about what they were doing with this rifle. First and foremost, let's talk about the caliber. This is actually chambered in the 223 Wild chambering. And a lot of people think that's a caliber of a special round, which it's not. It's actually the chamber itself, and it will allow you to shoot the 223 or that NATO 5.56 round. And supposedly, I'm talking with Don and some other guys, that chambering is almost like gives it a match type quality. It actually fits the round better.
It's like the magic sweet spot between them. So it's almost like a match grade version of Bolt, if you will. And it runs great. I've been running like almost all barrels, and all my ARs are 223 Wild, especially my stainless steel match barrels are 223 Wild. And, it's lights out. It's kind of sort of become the standard outside of mil spec.
I'm really excited, right? This is actually my first rifle actually chambered in that 223 Wild. So that's one of the first features that really stuck out to me. It's branded right here on the dust cover when it flopped open, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. The other things I like about this rifle that they thought about, it's an M-lock handguard. But when we first started going away from that quad rail or the Picatinny on all sides, the first thing I noticed, being a rifleman for so long, is that much smaller feel in the hand of the handguard. This is actually a full gripped M-lock. So when you actually don't have any accessories on it, grabbing hold of it, it actually feels like you really have a good grip on the handguard. Like, did you notice that when they first started?
It's definitely for guys. I mean, if you have big hands, you're gonna like it.
Yeah, and I do. I definitely have big hands. So I that's a feature that I like. It also comes with a mid-length gas system on this rifle, which improves shootability. Right, it allows you to have a longer handguard, but it also at the same time gives you more shootability. Inside the gun, they did nickel boron coating of the bolt carrier as well as the bolt, which makes it much more tolerant of not needing as much lubrication. Like I grabbed this one right out of the bag earlier today. Didn't really look at it too much, threw a magazine in it, and we got right to shooting it, and it shot flawlessly. They also use a muzzle brake, right? The muzzle brake to help control that rise of the barrel. And a couple of nice things that they actually include a couple little Picatinny blocks right out of the gate, right? Because so many times you get a rifle and you're like, well, I want to put my light on it because it's going to be my home defense gun. I want to put a light on it, but then you don't have a little piece of Picatinny rail to like throw on there.
You got to go to Primary Arms or someplace and order that stuff because you don't have it.
Right. And a little teasing here, right? I'm a lefty, right? And Rob tells me all the time, God must have hated me or something for making me a lefty. But here's the cool thing, right? Students ask me all the time, well, I'm a lefty. Do I need something special for the gun? And I'm always like, nah, just run it as a right-handed gun. Well, this gun actually straight out of the box is fully ambi, right? It's got ambi selector switches, it's got ambi magazine releases, ambi charging handle. So they've done a lot of thought. They try to make it user-friendly. So I'm really excited to get this out on the range, put it in students' hands, see what they think about it. Oh, one last thing. It actually comes with some QD mount points already on the rifle. So if you have a sling, it's already ready to go.
What we got, Rob? All right. This is going to be exciting because it's a live event. We're on a range. And other than the little bit of shooting Don did to kind of prove the gun works and the key works and the optics work, we're going to have a little competition, something we don't really do a lot at Personal Defense Network. But one of the reasons I wanted to do this is there's a lot of different optics, obviously, that we can put on these Nemo firearms. And I'm saying firearms because I've got one of the new 3X prisms from Primary Arms, which is really cool, the prism idea. We've done some other videos on it. But this is on an AR pistol, as you can see. And one of the other advantages of this large, relatively large for what's trendy right now, forend is that we can put a suppressor inside of it. Now, hand me that little baffled thing over there. So this is a blast redirectory thing. I'm sure there's a more technical name for it, but Nemo sends this gun out because of the short barrel with this on it, so that obviously you can put your hand on the handguard out here and not have to worry about blast coming in and affecting your hand. Well, remove that and throw a suppressor on there. And if you have the option, I'm a fan of having a suppressor on the gun when it comes to home defense, the gun that you stage for home defense. Why not? Is it necessary? Are you ridiculous if you don't have it? No, but if you can, you can. So I'm going to go ahead and use this pistol today. It has the 3X on it. You've got the 1X Prism. What have you got on there, Don?
VaultTec Razor 1-6.
All right, and then we're going to bring Barrett out here because Barrett has what I think is the best looking of the firearms from Nemo, the anodized sort of Tiger Stripe-ish homage to Tiger Stripe. And what do you have on yours?
1X.
The 1X also, same thing. All right, so you're going to see 3 different versions of optics with 4 different shooters. And we're going to pull out a timer, and we've got a steel target way back there. We're just going to go from the buzzer to first shot to sort of warm up for our tour classes that are coming up. My first tour classes, by the way, are going to be happening right here this weekend in 2 days. On Friday, I'm going to be doing a intuitive defensive shooting course. When's your first course on the tour?
It is at the end of this month. I'm doing a DSF level 1.
An instructor class. Don?
Next weekend, Team New Hampshire, Night Fighter.
Team New Hampshire. I love teaching up there.
And Mississippi and DSF, instructor level 4.
Another instructor course. So I'm going to remind you guys, and that was actually the first course of the tour this year was Clint Macro of Trigger Pressers Union teaching an instructor level course as well. PDNtrainingtour.com is where you want to go. Don, I'm going to have you step up first because I know you've got to get ready for the next segment as we're going to talk about Winchester ammunition. Oh, don't take the fan. Look at him. He's trying to take the defender rounds. Get out of here and shoot the ball. All right, so we're going to go from here. Everybody's got their eyes and ears on. Stand by. Come over here for me, Barrett. I'm not sure which camera we've got on this situation here. All right. Low ready. 3 points of contact. Oh, come on. All the way down. It's like it's such a gamer. Who knew? Who knew the SF guy was going to be the gamer? Take all the advantages. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Right? Just relax. Hands in your pockets. Really, yeah. Show us who you are.
Yeah.
Stand by. Okay, right there, 1.31. All right, you can go ahead and clear that out. Hand off the mag. You can get ready for the next segment. Barrett's up. I don't know who wins what. Maybe
Got to slide back. Be like,
laid back, ready.
Yeah.
Stand by. .84. You can keep the rifle on. Give me the mag. You can clear it off camera. We're going to roll through this. We're not terribly behind schedule here. This is scheduled for an hour, by the way. All right, let's see what happens here. Standing by. Oh, it's up to the Marine.
Oh,
It's up to the Marine. Now, I will be fair. I didn't really slouch quite as much as you did, but I'm not an armed professional expert like you. I can see that. I can see that. And the lefty, I never said anything about anybody hating you, by the way. I think I said that they must have believed in you because you're up to the challenge. Stand by. .86. All that says is that 3X Prism, I was right. It's one of the best new optics on the market. Don, talk to us about Winchester ammunition. I'll bring these over to you here. I've been obviously using Winchester forever. My first carry gun was Winchester Silver Tips, a 380 back in the day. My first legally carried defensive gun was also loaded with 380 Silver Tips a few years later. And I'll let you talk about your experiences with it.
well, I mean, Winchester, what's been a second year officially as the tour ammo sponsor. What's to say about it? It's an American icon when it comes to ammo and firearms. But specifically ammo. If you don't know if you've never heard of Winchester ammunition, you might be new around here. But we're pretty happy about having them as a sponsor and helping supply us. Basically, as firearms instructors, we're kind of like race car drivers, except our gas for our race cars is ammunition. So without some sort of support, it's a lot harder to do our jobs, which is get out there and shoot with you guys. So you'll see us running some of this stuff in the rifle, and then the white box 9mm most likely in the pistol classes. But we've also have some other stuff here that we're going to try out. We're going to shoot this gel block behind me right here, and we have the Winchester Defender, which is some really good stuff. You carry this stuff in yours, right?
That's actually
the 124 grain, right on. 124 grain bonded hollow points. It's a plus P, which means it's it's hot, right? It's not plus P plus, but it's a high velocity bonded jacketed hollow point. Why is that important? So we want, hollow point, obviously defensive ammo, and it's come a long way since my dad was shooting some of the first ever invented hollow points, and those were great. But now we have the bonded, where they bond the jacket to the lead core on the inside, and that does all kinds of things for the bullet. It was a game changer in performance, right?
maximizes the mass that stays together. Right? It opens up nice and wide, but it stays together and do more damage, right? To stop that lethal threat.
Yeah, what we don't want is it breaking up into a bunch of pieces. We want this, everybody likes the cool flower that comes out of it, but that is kind of like what causes that wound cavity that's gonna do what we need to do, or efficient. Exactly. And so if the bullet breaks apart or stays small like a ball round or a lead slug, it's not going to do that. So also what bonding does is if it does hit something hard before it hits, something soft like flesh, or it has to go through multiple layers of clothing or whatever, it keeps the bullet from breaking apart or breaking through. If it has body armor or glass or something like that, I know that bonded is definitely the way to go on that stuff too. But yeah, these are 124 grain, which is pretty much the industry standard when it comes to ballistics gel and the performance. Now I know that when we shoot ballistic gel, it's not the same as meat or human body or whatever. But well, it's the deal is we've compiled so much data on how bullets perform when they're shot into the gel. The FBI, that's one of the things they've done incredibly well is compile that data and test all this ammo so we can correlate how it performs in the gel to how it should perform on the streets, right? Based on that ammo's actual performance on the streets and the gel. So we have so much information about it. I know a lot of people are like, well, it's gel, you should shoot a ham or something like that, or a roast beef. But that's not the same either, because that's not, it's real meat, but it's not live meat, it's not tissue, it's not. So the penetration that we get from doing that is indicative of how it should be done. So I guess you got yours on?
Yeah, I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
This is what I carry, so I want to see what this.
I hope I don't miss. All right, so we got some clear ballistics gel over here. Go take a look, eh?
One of the things about this is that people say, well, gee, are you sure you want to do this live? We've done a bunch of these. I used to run for years. I ran the pistol bay at the SHOT Show media day, the live range day for Winchester. So I have an incredible amount of faith that we're going to see a great expansion from these Defender rounds, and we're going to see it between 12 and 15 inches. This is a 16-inch gel block from Clear Ballistics, and is that going to help? We got one of our producer guys, Jamie, here telling me this will help. So check this out. One of the things that is amazing about Winchester bullets is they even know where the cameras are going to be. The way that thing has twisted to show you, I don't know if we get a close-up maybe over here on this camera of just how perfect that expansion is. That's what bonded hollow points do. Weight retention, depth of penetration, and consistent expansion. That consistent expansion means you get a good linear track, as you can see. And I can't imagine much straighter of a linear track, not only from the direction you're looking at, but also the direction that you're seeing from here. So that's in every plane, depth of penetration without any skewing that happens because of uneven expansion. So great shot.
I'll say I think it has a lot to do with marksmanship.
Well, it's a great shot. You obviously you put the spin on there perfectly. You know, the thing about this is every so well, bullets are going to do what bullets are going to do. But yes, you have to do what you're going to do first. We have to anticipate that you're going to put the bullet in the right place. So you want that linear, consistent penetration. Think about it. If you put the bullet right there and it skews, you might get 15 inches. But if it's going through the side and down, well, then it's going to end up down here, and you may not hit that good stuff that you did your job. Don did his job with the marksmanship. So, you know, as usual, Winchester's doing a great job for us. That's me trying to signal to Barrett that he needs to get ready to talk in a second. So he's going to go over to the other table. That's what we do in live video broadcast here. Is we give cues like that. Go over there, Barrett. And that's what we're going to do now is go over there. We're going to talk about the SIRT pistol. You guys have seen me do a lot of training with Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes, the developer of the SIRT pistol, is actually one of our PDN contributors, has been for years. And Barrett, you've been using this product for years. I'm going to join you in a second, but go ahead and get us started.
Yeah, you know, SIRT, like you said, they've been around for several years. And here's a little piece of information you may not even know, Rob, but I actually was part of the pre-order of the first ever. So at SHOT Show, I don't remember when that was, 2010-ish. When he was there presenting it, he had the prototypes. They weren't even ready for order at that point, but I jumped on a pre-order 6 months, 8 months before they were even available for purchase. So as Rob talked about, I have been around these a good bit. Now, what you're looking at here on the table, you know, with this one as well as with the stick on the rifle side of things, these are newer iterations to it. So the original one was designed to be modeled off of the Glock 17 Generation 3 firearm to be able to give someone a tool that fit their holster, that fit their hand, and had as much of a one-to-one trigger that you can get from a training tool. And so there's different ways that we are able to use these. They don't have recoil, they don't have noise. You're not actually shooting. But what they do work well for is maybe you're somebody, you're just getting started out working with your concealed carry gear. You want to get some good practice inside the home of getting the firearm out of the holster, going to the high compressed ready position with it, and getting it back into the holster without the additional concerns of having the live fire guns around. We've talked about the VaultTec safes here. Another way these could be used is being able to run through little miniature simulations inside your home where you're working with going to retrieve your gun from your VaultTec safe or from your stage carry, your stage position inside that home. You know, Rob uses them a tremendous amount on the tour to be able to, and we both do, through unorthodox positions or extreme close quarters where we don't have to have the concern of the non-lethal training ammunition, where we need the extra protective gear or the live firearms.
Yeah, in fact, you can see this one has the sights removed, and that is entirely for the weapon retentions portion of our extreme close quarters class. So when we talk about extreme close quarter shooting or tactics, it's a one-day course or a two-day course. There'll be several of them on the tour this year. One of the things we want to teach people is how to keep control of their gun. So if Barrett were to come in here and grab at the gun, we have different techniques that we teach for retaining control of it. Obviously, we make sure the students are wearing gloves, but if there's sights on here, it's just going to lead to scratches and dents on people or ripping up open the gloves that we don't need to worry about. So they came out with these compact ones a few years ago. There's a few different configurations. The reason there's different configurations of the base plate is because one of the most important things you can do with this is train for presentation from the holster in a safe environment, a dry environment. We don't talk about dry fire, but we talk about dry manipulation. So if I want to practice, you know, being knocked down over this table and pushed back and then still get a good draw from a concealed position in a appendix carry situation, I can come up, I can drive out, I can take that first shot, I can video myself doing it. But different guns, whether you're talking about the single stack XDS, you're talking about the Glock 43, which this is more configured like the Shield, they have different length grips and different shapes. So the different shapes on the bottom give you that grip feel of your gun, which is really nice. Of course, most people know the SIRT for the full-size gun. You've all seen this for many, many years. There's different versions of it. There's versions that look like the SIG, versions that look like the M&P, versions that look like the Glock. They have a new one out that's the Glock 19. This full-size one, the more Glock 17-ish, is designed to work with the SIRT stick. Now, have you used this much in your training?
A little bit, but not a tremendous amount. I use it around home defense tactics and running through simulations, whether that be for safety teams that have staged rifles, or for just the person worried about personal defense at home.
Exactly. That is the deal. Like to understand how to move with the rifle inside of your home, to stage with the rifle. Obviously, you can set this up just like you've set your other rifle up. There's M-lock opportunities. There's key mod if you still have key mod handguards. There's obviously rail bits that you can attach stuff to. I've got an old optic, a red dot optic that I don't use for any real training purpose on live guns, but it serves the purpose. And you see that I have like the prism one time on some of my rifles. Obviously, there's a difference when I put this up, but for the dry fire manipulation and movement inside of a home defense context, or for, again, weapon retention training, there's nothing wrong with just putting any red dot on here. Obviously, you can strip it down and have it blank too. One of the things that's nice about this configuration is the customability. It's also, you can change the length. All of those things are adjustable, and the safety works. This is a very elegant solution. When by elegant, I mean simple. It just works. You hand me that bolt over there. For years, and I'm gonna make a little fun of these guys. They tried. This is like a passion project for Mike Hughes, Britt, all the guys at CERT. They tried to make this work so you could put the laser activator inside of your AR for years. Different iterations. Really tried. Really struggled. Good for them for sticking with it. And I'm sure he just had an epiphany one day. Mike's kind of a genius in that way, where it just comes to, I should have seen this years ago. And that's what the CERT stick is. It's the easy solution, especially if you already have the CERT pistol. If you don't have the CERT pistol, cool, get one. If you only do rifle, it's worth it. The investment is definitely worth it. So I think it's a cool solution. Anything else? Any other thoughts on the CERT and why it's important?
No, like I said, I think we've kind of covered that. It really works for the manipulations in the dry environment. So like you said, not one-to-one with shooting, but it gives you the ability to lessen all the risk around, where it's easy for me to stand on the other side of that gun. And I use it a lot, exactly, in the teaching standpoint, talking about cover, concealment, that kind of stuff, to really be able to show the students what's happening.
And another thing I'll say also about the CERT situation is they are incredibly tuned into the instructor community. They do a lot of work with a lot of different instructor organizations. Whoever you're certified through, whether it's IC Training Company, the NRA, whoever you're certified through, there's probably a deal if you're one of the instructors to get your hands on a few of these. And for the end users, you'll see sales every once in a while. Don't be intimidated by the price. This is not just another glue gun, kind of a plastic inert thing. There's so much more this can do. One of the biggest things when it first came out was the adjustability of the trigger. You can actually set these triggers up on these guns to feel like your trigger, with the take up, the break, the reset, all of that. One of the organizations that works very closely with CERT is the United States Concealed Carry Association. Now, I'm wearing a USCCA shirt. You say, wow, why are we wearing a PDN shirt? Well, I'm on PDN. I'm sure there's a logo down here floating around somewhere that says PDN on all of these videos. We're broadcasting on personaldefensenetwork.com, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook, which you should all like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. But I also wrote the live fire curriculum for the United States Concealed Carry Association. My relationship with them goes back like 17 years when the magazine first started. We've done a lot of cool projects together, but the one I'm proudest of is the DSF program, Defensive Shooting Fundamentals Level 1 and Level 2. Of course, those books were published. The program was launched in 2018. We now have hundreds of instructors certified to teach the program. You heard that the guys are going to be doing some of those instructor development classes on the tour this year. Barrett is one of the lead instructors on that program that helped build that cadre for the USCCA. The other guy who was a leader there is Derek Poole. So I'm going to give it back to Derek to talk about the educational advantages and the opportunities you have to learn a lot of stuff, not just our shooting program, but other things from the United States Concealed Carry Association.
Thanks, Rob. Yeah, the USCCA, like Rob said, I remember back when the USCCA was just Tim Smith and the magazine, and they've come so far. It's a great place for resources, for education, both before an incident and after. Rob's going to come in and talk about the aftermath part of what the USCCA provides. But from the training side, they do instructor development on many different levels. The program that myself and Barrett and Rob, that's their live fire curriculum, but they also have non-live fire curriculum that's great information, such as their concealed carry and home defense. Of course, they have first aid courses. They have women's self-defense. They have all sorts of stuff, and it's online as well as in person. So if you go over to the USCCA website, go to their education tab, click over there and check it out. You'll be amazed at the number of classes and types of classes that you have access to once you become a member. Even signing up, they give you access to some entry-level access to whet your appetite to see what they do have to offer. But like Rob said, if you look on the PDN training tour schedule, you're going to see myself and Barrett traveling around and doing those DSF level 1 instructor developments, as well as sprinkling in a couple of those level 2 things out there because, like Rob said, it's been around now for we're going on 4 years. We started the project almost 5 years ago. So now we're going to start sprinkling in the level 2 for all those level 1 folks that have been out there on the range teaching people and getting that education out there. We're going to start throwing out some level 2 so people can take it to the next level.
It's true, and they're always adding different curricula to the program. Yeah, that now they have a range partner program. What you're going to see more and more of the USCCA is affiliated ranges. You're going to see ranges that are teaching not maybe exclusively the USCCA program, but really focusing on it. And that's from the entry level, from new stuff that's going to be rolling out with family awareness, safety stuff, basic firearms. Here's how the rifle works. I know that we're getting ready to do some work with the AR program they're coming out with. And of course, the continuing education on specifically concealed carry and home defense use of a firearm. But they also get into legal aftermath, as you said, medical, all that great stuff. Now, let's talk about the aftermath, because really that's one of the biggest advantages to being a USCCA member. They're going to be there to help you with that aftermath. And that could be a big financial burden if you're not prepared for it. Well, being a member of the USCCA helps you to be prepared for it. You know, Tim Schmidt, the founder, has a goal. He wants to have 10 million educated Americans underneath the USCCA umbrella, and they're well on their way. They're not quite half, but maybe by the end of this year, with all the new firearms owners we've got, with all their affiliated rangers, some of the best ranges in the country, by the way, ranges we all teach at, Cape Gun Works. We have Exeter Gunslingers, I know, host a lot of our classes out in California. They're integrating with them. Reno Guns and Range in Nevada, they're another one. Boondocks down here in the Southeast. Obviously, we have USCCA represented here at Ancient City as well. Just an incredible organization. I can't say enough good things about their sincere dedication to education, but also it's a quality product when it comes to dealing with that financial aftermath. You're dealing with the legal battles that you may well face, even if you were justified in your use of the firearm. The next thing I want to do, really, as we get ready to close this out, is talk a little bit about our media sponsors. Now, one of the things that's really incredibly important, and I guess we'll just kind of mosey over here and join up with the other guys as we close this out. Working with a lot of different media is incredibly important to Personal Defense Network. We don't try to sort of hog all the attention. As you see, we go out on social media. A lot of our information is free. The training talk show that you guys do, we have a lot of guests, even some people who are trainers that aren't affiliated with PDN, and we do a lot of other media. We talk to people outside of the gun community, and we go on podcasts all the time. This year, we have our first media sponsor at the Personal Defense Network Training Tour, and it's the Rapid Fire Radio Show. The guy is actually one of our instructors. He's also a course host at Cape Gun Works. Toby Leary has been doing a lot of great stuff on Real Radio. This is a syndicated show that goes out across the country. In fact, it's broadcast right here out of Jacksonville on AM and FM. He's coast to coast. He also obviously does the online stuff with the Rapid Fire Show, broadcast straight from Cape Gun Works. So he's going to be giving you a weekly update. You might have heard the show this past weekend. I did the kickoff. You guys, I know, are scheduled. All of our tour instructors are scheduled to be on the Rapid Fire Show. So we're talking about Rapid Fire. Have you guys been on the show yet? In any previous? Okay, so that's cool. It's going to be your first time. But you guys, I'm sure, have done other podcasts. What's another podcast or media that you guys have done recently or getting ready to do?
For us, Barrett and I we finish training talk, and then we spend the next month trying to figure out, all right, who's our next guest. So that's pretty much our sole focus. But I just started listening to you on Liberal Lens with Randy Mines.
Yep, Liberal Gun Owner.
Randy was one of my instructor candidates. So now that you had you on, I'm going to start bugging him. I want to be on. I want to be on.
Okay, so that's the next one. That's a little bit of a call out to the Liberal Gun Owners Lens. That's Derek's next show. What about you?
I'll be on the training talk. I don't know. We're gonna have to check the next month. And then next Wednesday, I'm on Rapid Fire.
You're on Rapid Fire, and I know you've done a lot of work with the Greshams, right?
I have.
In the past.
Greshams. I was just on a local WDSU out of New Orleans here, I guess maybe 2 months ago as well. So that's probably the last thing I did in the media.
Awesome. We Like Shooting with Sean Herron. It's a great show. Yep. That's part of the Firearms Radio Network. I've actually launched a podcast at robpinkuspodcast.com, and we're on the Firearms Radio Network as well. So I appreciate Sean adding me to their lineup. And that's we've got some of the politics that we don't talk about at PDN, as well as some short training segments as well on that podcast. The communication is really important, and you're not going to ever get it all from one place. So we do want you to become a member. We want you to sign up for Personal Defense Network, but we realize that we want to share the wealth. And if you're an instructor watching this, you want to be part of our team, join up. Let me talk a little bit about the team, but reach out to us if you want to join it. Right now, who else? We have Kevin Dixie. Kevin Dixie was here. We actually did a live broadcast with him last year. He is getting ready to kick off his first events in the tour. And we're all going to be with him, or not all of us, I guess, but some of us are going to be with him at the Train and Learn event that's coming up in Missouri on Memorial Day weekend. Now, I taught there last year. I think you're teaching this year, and I think we might have Ryan Hoover also. Ryan Hoover is another member of the training tour this year. He's the first person that's new to the training tour this year. He runs the Fit to Fight. And this guy, let me tell you something. He is just an incredible wealth of knowledge. I love his attitude. I love the way he communicates information. He is purely dedicated to avoiding the drama and cutting right to the chase and teaching people how to be better prepared to defend themselves, especially inside of 2 arms reach. A lot of unarmed stuff, empty hand stuff, weapon retention stuff, fighting to your gun. Of course, you'll see a lot of SIRT pistol integration, non-lethal marking stuff inside of his program. So look for the classes with Ryan Hoover, Fit to Fight. He's going to be there. Jarrett Hutchins is back with us. Jarrett Hutchins also has done some of these live events with us and been a PDN contributor now for probably about 1.5 years. She's on board with us. Who we have? Alessandro Padovani, one of the guys that's been with me 2009, 2010, one of our most senior instructors in the IDS program, or now the DSF program with USCCA. He's going to be involved. He's teaching mostly out on the West Coast. He's not going to be as active this year, but he's going to be in. Am I forgetting anybody? Clint Macro. We talked about Clint earlier. That's right. So he's, again, one of the leaders, one of the leading cadre for instructors at USCCA, Trigger Pressers Union. I'm going to be teaching with him in New Kensington, Pennsylvania. I think it's like the second weekend in April, so it's only a few weeks away. Take a look at those courses. And whenever I'm teaching, if I'm teaching with Toby at Cape Gunworks, if I'm teaching at Reno Guns and Range, if I'm teaching with Clint, a lot of times when I'm teaching, I've got other instructors with me, and I know you guys work the same way. So we really are a team. We can all operate independently if we need to, but there's a lot of good back and forth. And when you come to a training tour class, you're probably going to get a little more than you bargained for, especially if I'm there to help out, or if I have somebody there to help out. You're going to get a lot of different perspectives. To me, it's one of the most enjoyable things about my life. A lot of people say, what are you going to do if you win the lottery? What would you do if you finally start selling PD10s? You make millions of dollars. Like, what would you do? I would do the same thing, but just turn it up louder.
Last year on the training tour, you were actually day one of one of my instructor development classes and on the instructor candidates. Remember him?
Oh, that's right.
And the instructor candidates were like,
we know that guy.
Is that the guy in the book?
And I actually had fun because I get to shoot on the line when these guys are lead instructors. One thing, there was a question in the live chat about, are we going to be doing more video throughout the tour? Absolutely. So not only on the rapid fire segments, we'll be getting into more depth and talking about the classes that we're teaching and exactly what that's all about. Today really was about introducing you to our sponsors and giving you the overview of our 10th tour, our 10th season of the Personal Defense Network Training Tour, and the amazing sponsors we have lined up. But as we go through with the other media and our videos, we are going to be talking a lot more about the classes. Of course, if you click on any of those links on the calendar at pdntrainingtour.com, you're going to learn more about them. Let's start down at that end of the table. Closing thoughts, Don.
Closing thoughts put me on the spot. Looking forward to it. I got a busy schedule this year, and a little bit of a lot of things.
Talk about the symposium. I think it's just outside the tour date.
It is.
Talk about the
November.
summit you're doing.
November. But so those guys that know me or know about me, I'm the low light, no light, night vision guy, right? So my company, Greenline Tactical, I'm putting on something that we're calling the Night Operations Summit, or the Night Ops Summit, and it's going to be the weekend prior to Thanksgiving in November. So it's right before the holiday and all that stuff. It's in South Carolina. And it's a 3-day, 3-night symposium style training event. And all of my instructors are going to be teaching classes of their own each night. So every night, basically, you sign up for the summit, and you choose what classes you want to take each night. So you can have an 8-hour smorgasbord.
One of the things I know that intimidates people sometimes is they're curious about it, but you can have thousands of dollars worth of equipment. You guys do have rental equipment available, right?
Some rental equipment,
okay,
but we're expecting about 100 people, so it's not going to be that much rental equipment. But we've also designed the curriculum to where if you don't have night vision and you just want to take low light classes, there's something for you every night. There's either a low light carbine, or low light pistol, or low light room clearing, or something like that.
And one of the videos that you can find from Don at personaldefensenetwork.com is explaining how you don't need to be in the dark to do low light training, right? Your manipulations with getting your flashlight out, the ready position, integrating it with your shooting, whatever you're going to do, manipulating your weapon mounted light. You can do all that even if it's not dark out. So take a look at that video as well. Derek?
Well, yeah, this is great. I always look forward to the PDN training tour starting up. Like I remember when I was just an assistant instructor from way back 2010, 2011, 2012, something like that. And then I wanted to be on it, and I just look forward to it every year. It's great that, like, the year COVID happened, I had just gotten back from my motorcycle accident. I was all psyched up, like, all right, at least I'm going to be back in time for the tour. And didn't happen. Yep. So I'm juggling with school and stuff, but you know, I like to tour. So I'm juggling night school, but you know what? I'm making sure I'm hitting the road to get the classes out there.
Barrett?
Yeah, no, I've got, like I said, I've got classes literally all the way, from the West Coast, almost down in Mexico, up to the East Coast and Cape Cod towards the end of the tour in August. I'll be out at Toby Leary's range on the Cape. So excited to be back on the tour this year. One of the issues that can come in with live events, obviously, is sometimes with the microphones. You may not even know, but I had a microphone. Y'all hated me again with the microphone not working there for just a moment. But I think what I was talking about, the Canics, the Canic SFT, since day one, I've been putting rounds downrange, at least 500 rounds, not just through my hands, but already through multiple student hands that have been out there. And so far, just solid feedback on the gun. It's been a really good gun. So I'm excited to have it back, or I'm excited to have it on the tour and put it in multiple students' hands in different environments to really be able to punish the firearm to prove its worth as a defensive shooting tool, as a defensive handgun.
That's what it's about. When we take a gun out on the tour, like for me, it sits in the truck vault in the back of the truck, bounces around, gets scratched up, it hits the dirt. Lots of people get to use it. This is the last time I think you're going to see any of these. Well, Don keeps his guns in pretty good gear. This is the last time, other than Don's perfection OCD, you're going to see a lot of scratches, a lot of dents. I'm teasing because I know you put the stuff through its paces. He might be the most abusive. But either way, you're going to see it get used. You're going to know whether or not it stands up. This one, we didn't shoot this one today, but this 1-8, it's a 1 pound compact 1-8 from Primary Arms. That's my Tiger Stripe carbine. I use the pistol in our little competition there. That thing I'm really excited to use. I've got there's so much cool stuff about going out on tour and having 10, 12 students on the line that we can hand different things to. We can run through drills with the VaultTec. We can do all kinds of things to really test this stuff. Now, these guys wouldn't be tour sponsors if I didn't think they were going to stand up to the test. But if there's problems, we're going to find out. You're going to find out with us over the next 5.5 months, almost 6 months that is still left on the tour. Guys, thank you very much for helping out with the live today. My team back in Minneapolis who's making sure this goes out. Hopefully you've seen it. We're also going to chop this up. So you're going to see little bits and pieces and close up. We'll probably talk a little bit more about the Canics in detail if the audio wasn't any good. We'll figure all that in the wash. Most of the stuff that we do at Personal Defense Network is pre-recorded and is an incredibly high quality, as you know, and that's because of the production team, which you can't see. A whole bunch of people on the other side right now. Well, I guess we had Jamie come out and bring us the tarp. But other than that, the rest of them are behind the cameras or on the switchers or back in Minneapolis at the studio, making sure this gets out to you. An incredible team that we have. Super proud of the instructor team. Everybody back at headquarters that makes this all happen. Obviously, the guys on the cameras and you, because if you guys weren't tuning in and watching, and then more importantly, maybe sharing this stuff, because if you know this is important, I want you to share it with other people so that they know it's important and they get value from it too. That's why we do it. PersonalDefenseNetwork.com, the 2022 training tour. It's the 10th one we've done. It's the biggest and best yet. And I'm super excited to get those classes started in just 2 days right on this range.